You're on the train in New York City. You think someone's gonna cause you harm. You don't know. You restrain that person and they die. Is it self-defense or is it murder? Let's talk about it. What's up, YouTube? This is Isaac. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're talking about self-defense and murder. In particular, a case in New York City where a homeless man, Mr. Neely, was restrained and put in a chokehold by an ex-Marine and some other passengers on the train. And guess what? The guy died. The question is this self-defense or is it murder? Okay. Now, I grew up in the Bronx. I used to take the 4 train, used to pass Yankee Stadium. And let me tell you, in the 1990s, right in the train, certain stops was pretty damn scary. You didn't know if you was gonna get jumped, robbed, you just had no idea. And particularly in the evening can be a scary experience, okay? And sometimes you'll be in the train and you would see the most amazing, most talented homeless people I've ever seen on the train, playing instruments, dancing, singing, doing all those things. But sometimes, let me tell you, there's some scary individuals. You knew they had issues. You knew they had problems and you just didn't know what was going to happen. And it looks like this was the case. Individual, Mr. Neely, been arrested over 40 times, mental health issues, a homeless man, and apparently was threatening passengers, seeming to be aggressive and actually pretty scary. And you had an individual that decided to restrain him, decided not to wait till any harm happened to himself or others, and placed him in a chokehold, and actually was helped by other passengers, and they called 911 to get cops in there to help them. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Neely died at the hospital. And so one of the things in particular with the story that I find the news media right away starts saying ex-Marine, ex-Marine, ex-Marine versus, I don't know, he might be a cook, but ex-Marine, as if as an ex-Marine, he had some particular training that made him super deadly. Yes, as ex-military, we all go through basic rifleman training. You learn weapons, but that doesn't mean you're a SEAL Team 6 member and, you know, train in the deadly arts. That's not always the case. All right. There's a lot of people that work the supply rooms, mechanics. So, you know, we have no idea what this guy's background is. But at the end of the day, the question is this self-defense or murder, right? So he restrained the guy, put him in a chokehold. Clearly, this guy, the ex-Marine passenger was not an expert. If you place someone in a proper rear naked choke, they're going to sleep within 6 seconds. I mean, there's nothing you will do. It doesn't matter your size. If you apply a proper choke, you will put them to sleep in seconds. Okay. So here you had them struggling to restrain this guy, and look at the video.
24-year-old Marine veteran Daniel Penny can be seen in this disturbing video restraining 30-year-old Jordan Neely, who was homeless in a chokehold for nearly 3 minutes. Sources tell ABC News Neely was yelling and acting erratically on the subway, but had not become physically violent. Other passengers are also seen holding him down.
You can see in this video, you know, the guy's not trying to cause harm. He's literally trying to restrain him. Other passengers gets involved. And I think there's a clear distinction because you're having these protests now, people calling for this guy to be arrested. He was interviewed and released by police. They're gonna send it to a grand jury now, I think due to political pressures. And I doubt that they're gonna come down with an indictment. But at the end of the day, he's restraining them. There's no intent to cause harm. He's asking for police to show up. Other people get involved. Clearly, they were also afraid of this guy, and he ends up dying. Now, what happens if he would have bear hugged him and the guy dies of a heart attack? Is that self-defense? Murder? I think the difference there is he had a medical condition, he dies. The coroner listed this as a homicide, that the chokehold was a direct and proximate cause of his death. But let me read you the self-defense statute in New York State. Under New York law, Penal Law, Section 35.15, a person is justified in using physical force against another when that person is under the reasonable belief that the physical force is necessary to defend the person or another person from what the person reasonably believes to be the illegal, imminent use of force or the illegal contact. Well, there you go. The key word here obviously is reasonableness. Is it reasonable that this gentleman, this homeless man, gets on the train, is threatening passengers, acting erratic, scary, aggressive, and you restrain him? You put him in a chokehold. You're trying to hold him before he causes any harm to yourself or others, but he ends up dying. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not murder. That's not manslaughter, okay? He was within his right to defend himself. That is self-defense. It is reasonable. The fear that he had, that he was in physical harm or others was in physical harm, and he restrained them. I think this is a case of self-defense. The witnesses are going to play a key role. I mean, you do have other individuals trying to restrain this man, and they were trying to restrain him for several minutes. Okay. It wasn't like they attacked the man. It wasn't like they were raining down punches. I think this is way different than the police scenario where you have a non-compliant suspect and all of a sudden they're slapping a chokehold and the person's restrained and they're choking them and they have handcuffs. They have all these tools available to them and they end up choking them and the person dies. Completely different scenario. A suspect that's non-compliant. I think that's different. There's so many more tools that the police have. They have way more training than your average citizen. They have pepper spray, handcuffs. They have the baton. They have tons of tools to their disposal to get someone to comply. In this scenario, you have your average citizens trying to restrain a guy that was dangerous and they thought they were going to be harmed. And the guy died. The question of whose fault, the city has, the history of not taking care of some of these trains and not, protecting the citizens and the passengers on these trains. My case is years and years ago, but I'm sure I've seen it. It can be a scary scenario. But guys, let me know what you think. Is it murder? Was it self-defense? Remember, the key word is reasonable. Let me know what you think, comment, and please guys, subscribe if you like the content. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.